Hello, Bill Colodzi here, with a first look at the Amonkhet draft format. This is up online. This is like an unprecedentedly fast thing. It's up before even the release of Amonkhet. Usually it's like a week or two after. So let's see what's good. Early in the format, we'll try to make the most of it. We've got Deem Worthy. 7 damage to a creature, instant speed. There is not a lot of premium removal like this, and for 4 mana it's a shock plus a draw. That's actually insane. I'm going to take that here. The only other cards are like Channeler Initiate, which is pretty great, and Oven Initiate. All the Initiates are good, I guess. Avian Initiate. So Gate doesn't do anything. There's no card called God Pharaoh's Gift, so it's just a bit of a tease. You're like, oh great, I'll open that in my second pack. No, you won't. Essence Scatter. Counter Magic is pretty fine in here. It'd be better if it exiled, but it's still pretty good. And yeah, let's take the removal. Maybe Channeler's Initiate is better, but... And green is kind of a good color, but I'm going to go with Deem Worthy. It's got to be good. Dusk Till Dawn, with the Magic Online layout of the split card here. That's pretty good. Just play a lot of tiny creatures and you can kind of make that work. Anything else here? Synchronized Strike is okay, Blazing Volley is unplayable, Colossopede is very large. Ceradon goes well with our first pick. Splendid Agony kind of works, but these Wrath effects are great. The 3 cards here are like Desert Ceradon, which is always going to be fine, Splendid Agony, which is fairly good removal, and Dusk Till Dawn, which has the highest upside. And the weakest of the 3 was the red card, so we'll just keep going with in this direction. Return all the creatures with power 2 or less. So what are we just drafting? White-red weenie? Just draft the small exert creatures that get bigger when they attack, so they come back to play with Dawn. You don't have to do anything too special to make it work, but it's still worth keeping an eye on. Yeah, like Bitterblade Warrior. Maybe it's best in like a green-white deck. Enigma Drake looks fun. Flying is especially strong in this set. Hazoret's Favor is the kind of card you want if you're stealing your opponent's creature. You can give one of your creatures haste and like sacrifice it. Interesting card. Super aggressive card. Works well enough with Dawn if you're playing tiny creatures. I almost want Enigma Drake. We already have Deem Worthy. And Cartouche of Knowledge is pretty cool too, but I think this Enigma Drake is undervalued, and I want to see if there is like a blue-red spells deck. In Khan's format, I loved drafting Control. Just get all the cancels, and this format is slow enough that seems pretty good. What's on his wings? Are those like runes, or there's like hieroglyphics on this guy's wings? Probably some riddles. Okay, what else do we have? Skirmisher, Anointed Procession. Now that's a build-around. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens, it creates twice that many tokens. So any Embalm deck, like a blue-white Embalm deck, you're going to get back 2 creatures for every creature you Embalm. I'm not sure if that's a real thing, but it's early enough in the draft, and we already have Dusk Till Dawn. Maybe it is a thing. I deem it worthy of pick. Not much else here, honestly. And yeah, like I said, it's slow enough format that if you have a combo in your deck, like a really unbeatable kind of thing where you get a bunch of tokens at once, then yeah, you can kind of go deep. Oh no, Soul Scar Mage with Deem Worthy. Limits of Solidarity as another spell. Fan Bearer is always going to be good. It works pretty well with Dusk to Dawn. It's not as good with Anointed Procession because it doesn't really do anything. But that might be the pick here. Soulscar Mage is just not that strong of a card. You're not going to get much out of it. And Cartouche is always pretty good, but I'll go with Fan Bearer. Our white cards are strong enough to kind of keep in mind. Alright, where's all the stuff? Okay, here's a late Oven Initiate. It's always going to be a good card. It works especially well with Anointed Procession. Get 2 3/2s for the price of 1. We need a bunch of cards like that if we're going to make it work. But I like it more than Onward to Victory. And usually good to have a Forsake the Worldly in your deck. But yeah, let's get some Aven Initiate going. Ancient Crab, another Fan Bearer. No more Token Makers, for what it's worth. Winds of Rebuke, pretty good in this set, in a set full of mummy tokens. But let's go with another Fan Bearer. I think if we go blue-white and play Flyers, it's the kind of card that we can make work and get back with our Dusk till Dawn. Reduced to Rubble. There's some counter magic for the Enigma Drake, but there's also a Greater Sandworm here. You know, this card isn't that hard to deal with, and we're not in... I mean, look at it versus Fan Bearer and Dusk. It doesn't do much. Might just go with this Shimmer Scale Drake. Blue is the color we're most likely playing right now. And this is just a great card, great flyer. And an Essence Scatter, even Wheels. I wouldn't mind a Tawcrop Elite in the deck. It doesn't die to Dusk. It gets returned by Dawn. Ooh, maybe that's the pick. Let's take a look at our blue-white so far. Exerting's not that important, but we have a bunch of flyers, it gets better. Essence Scatter's just always going to be good, though. And if we do end up opening a red-blue bomb, yeah, that's just going to be exactly what we want. Speaking of red bombs, the Desert Ceradon Wheels. And it's not like a card you'd want to splash, but this one is fairly easy to splash. It's only a single red, although the cycling is heavy red, for what it's worth. Yeah, I'll go with the Ceradon over the Daru's Resolve, which is also pretty good. Jeru's Resolve, whatever it is. Some Prowess is coming back, and another Tawcrop Elite. Yeah, we've got enough strong white. If you control a tapped creature, make a warrior. Okay, you know, I'll go for that instead. It's a big body. You know, Ketra's Name. That's a fine instant spell, especially if we do get some counters. Painted Bluffs. I don't really want to play that, so we can take this card. At the very least, it cycles. Alright, so I'm not sure about that Enigma Drake pick, but I'm always on the lookout for decks like that. Whoa, Gideon of the Trials. Too lazy to crop bid, I see. But but yeah, Planeswalker's definitely good. Glad we stayed open. You get to play the bombs you open if you stay open. And nothing comes close. I do like Nest of Scarabs. Maybe there's an Anointed Procession Scarab deck, but what would give the 1/1 counters? I don't know. Trial of Ambition, fairly annoying to play against, especially if they do it more than once. But yeah, it's got to be Gideon here. Let's do it. There you go. You could be Mardu 1/1 counters and get a bunch of Scarab tokens. Kind of digging here. Deem Worthy. Oh no, our mana is not good enough to splash this, but it probably is just right to splash it anyway. It's so good. What else would we take? Scribe or Mighty Leap? I don't think so. I think maybe we did such a good job of cutting red. We could even go into just red-white. Red-white good stuff. We have Desert Ceradon, one Deem Worthy, and another Deem Worthy. Let's do it. The red cartouche is the worst of the cartouches. So that was there, but it wasn't exciting. What does this guy become? He becomes indestructible, a 4/4, and prevent damage to him. So if you cast Dawn, even if you've already activated Gideon and you attacked or something, you still don't kill him. I don't know when that would come up. Usually you just dusk and then attack with him. Caravan, he can be your tapped creature for Supply Caravan. I think this is all well and good. Violent Impact if we're up against like the 4 or 5 color green deck. Who are we playing against here? It's kind of hard to tell before you join. Oh, I thought that was another Planeswalker. Kind of cool art. Neheb the Worthy. How worthy is he? Minotaurs get first strike. If you're hellbent, or I don't know what to call it now, but if you're almost hellbent, he's a 4/2 first strike, and all your other Minotaurs are +2/+0. They're already first strike. Each player discards a card when he deals damage. Kind of a weird one. Are there any good white cards to play here? This is the green monument. The white monument would be better. Essence Scatter. Yeah, maybe we'll go Mardu. Somehow. Neheb the Worthy. He seems pretty good. And we're not giving up much for the chance. There's no good white or red cards in this pack. So we could also play like Cartouche of Ambition, but I think Neheb's worthy, more worthy than that right now. Ooh, Winged Shepherd. I like this one. I also like a Cartouche. Works pretty well with the Procession, although it's still not likely to make our deck. I'm going to take the Shepherd. These flyers are so good. Another card here is Consuming Fervor, which kind of hard to use, but it is a lot of damage. Let's take the Shepherd. And we can take one of our first little 2-drops here, a Gust Walker. Sneak some damage in later in the game. Even Mind Sensor, what the heck does this thing do? It's just a 2/1 flash, really. And if they have a fetch land, they're going to want to run it out there before this thing resolves. But yeah, let's get the Avon Mind Sensor. Looks like white is open pretty much too. Ooh, Oketra's Monument in a foil no less. So all we need is a bunch of creatures and we can get some tokens down. The tokens don't get hurt by Dusk. And I'm going to try it out here. And it's a card that works well with Anointed Procession. One of the few ways to go wide, and we have in Oketra's name too. Do we get another one? Oh, not quite. And they're not zombies, right? They're warriors, so they don't work well with Binding Mummy. But I guess that's not too bad. Manticore of the Gauntlet. Let's get some more creatures down. So here's Binding Mummy, an Entangler, or maybe Fling. But the Entangler looks a bit better as it goes. Our fixing is not good enough for Neheb right now, and it's not really good enough if we're just waiting for the late game to play it. Cradle, if we're in 2 colors, the Cradle could be worth it. We're not giving up much to play it, and if we ever make 2 zombies off it, that gets a lot better. Make 2 zombies, tap 2 creatures down with the Mummy. It's worth trying to maximize the number of like combos you have, because all the cards work all right on their own. But you're going to try to plan for the late game and try to get something going that your opponent just can't beat. That's why it's kind of worth thinking about this Anointed Procession. Normally, you're not going to get the value out of it, but over a long game, the longer the game goes, the better this card gets. So far, we have not that many cards that work with it. Oketra's Monument, Cradle of the Accursed, and keep track of our combo over here. Supply Caravan, sure, that works with it. Get a bunch of warriors. 3 cards so far. We don't have any... what's it called? We don't have any Embalm in white. Impact and Mighty Leap, sure. Fling, okay. Better than this blue stuff. Don't like cards that are only life gain. If that's all they do is life gain, then you just fall behind on the board. They've got sideboard applications, but... ooh, even a full art last. Wow. Jeru's Resolve. It's a pretty strong card. Untapping the creature is relevant, especially if it's something like Netcroffin Tangler or Gustwalker that exerts. All right, what do we have now? We have a foil rare, Failure to Comply. I don't think this is some vintage staple, but you never know. Opponents can't cast that spell. Doesn't seem like it. Glory-bound Initiate, though. This guy is aggressive. A 4/4 lifelink? I mean, it doesn't attack every single turn, but... well, I mean, it might in the early game, if they don't have blockers. But it doesn't attack with a lifelink every turn, but that's okay. It's pretty hard to block. Gonna be good in a race. And it's the kind of card that works well. If your opponent has some Death Touch to block with, and you play Jeru's Resolve, you are in good shape. Alright, now we've got a real choice. We can take Honored Hydra to just have a Hydra in our deck, but we don't have the fixing for it. It's highly splashable, so that's okay. Or we could take a second Oketra's Monument and try to go really wide with these guys. And that's kind of what I want to do. We have a bunch of creatures already. Just pick up a lot of these fan bearers. Yeah, let's go nuts. Let's pick up the Monument. And another Anointed Procession. And to Stir the Sands is also pretty good. Get 3 tokens. Man, it's possible we're not even in red. Deem Worthies are so good. I don't know. Anointer Priest? Maybe we take Anointer Priest, and if we wheel Anointed Procession, that's fine, but we do need more creatures. And if we're making a bunch of tokens with Oketra's Monument, then this gains us a lot of life. And it's its own token producer. Bounty of the Looks of pretty good, but it's not going to be for us here. Nimble Blade is a creature. We've got Ruthless Sniper, which doesn't work so well with what we have. Cartouche of Strength, insane. Maybe we really should have taken that Hydra. I think I'm just going to take this here because nothing else works in our deck. And we find On-Crop Champion. Untap all other good creatures. Anointer Priest and Start to Finish. Oh, well, it's got to be Start, actually. I might play this card in its own in this deck, and if we do have the chance to splash black, maybe we bring in the Worthy. Yeah, I like that well enough here. Wheel that Anointed Procession. That's the game plan now. Alright, so I don't know if you'd call this a gimmick deck, but I don't think this is a common deck in the format. With all these tokens. Alright, another Cradle to make our mana worse. Or we could take Sacred Cat. The cool part about Oketra's Monument is that, it's on cast of the creature, so it doesn't work so well with Cradle, but it works well with Sacred Cat or Sparring Mummy, and Sparring Mummy is a little worse. We're kind of focusing on tiny creatures. Although, the Sacred Cat is not exciting, it's just kind of a stupid little thing. Yeah, the main reason I'm sticking to this red is just Deem Worthy is so good. Cartouche of Solidarity, get some more tokens. Sure, it's also a fine card. I mean, if you put this thing on Glorybound Initiate, all of a sudden you're attacking for 4 or 5 first strike. Hard to block. And if they deal with it, well, at least you have one thing left behind. Supply Caravan, not bad here. Alright, so maybe we splash one Swamp, because the finish side of this is so good. Make sure to play our full art planes for value. Yeah, here's another good guy. It doesn't always have first strike, but if you put like the cartouche on it, then you're attacking for a 4/2 first strike reliably. Another one, and a Supply Caravan. With 2 Oketra's Monuments, the Supply Caravan gets a lot better. A 4 mana 3/5 is great value. And if you ever get to make 2 tokens with it, you're in good shape. Just take the best cards here. Actually, Inciter, no, not what I thought it was. You probably never want to play the Inciter. Haste is just not enough of an upside to spend a card on. And otherwise it's just a 1/1, so it doesn't do anything. Be cute and give Gideon haste. Our Anointed Procession didn't wheel, so maybe people like that card. I don't know, we'll try it. Everyone's trying to try things this early. Cat, what's our first cut here? Because this is a lot of cards. Alright, we're not dealing too much in black. The only thing I could do is play like 1 Swamp to finish off our opponent's creatures. Violent Impact is not good enough. It's not impactful enough. Cradle's gonna get a spot in the deck. Okay. Mostly we want to prioritize creatures. So we could do 24 cards. Our curve isn't that high because of our cyclers. Oketra's Name looks like a good finisher for this deck, even though we don't have that many zombies. Maybe the Ceradon is a cut. But no, I like the Ceradon. Maybe it is a cut, actually. We have 24 cards here. Maybe we go to 25 and play this. Then we have a bunch of cyclers, a bunch of 3-drops. If we take a look at like our worst case curve here, looks something like this. 15 lands is not a lot of lands, though. Let's see how many cyclers we have. I hate when it gets rid of a column. I don't want you to get rid of a column. Gotta trick it like that. Cycling 2. None of these creatures cycle. So we don't have that many cyclers. So I think we want 16 lands, even in this deck. So what do we cut? Well, we're not going to cut any of our 3-drops. The most likely card we cut there is the Spearmaster. We're not going to cut our removal spells. I want to try out the Procession. The Supply Caravans are a good top end with our strategy. Maybe it's the Resolve. The Resolve is good, but it's not incredible in this deck. And I think everything else has a good place in this deck, so Sort by color, we've got 17, we've got just a whole bunch of white. 13, we probably want 12 there. 12, 3. 12, 3, and 1. Alright, so Neff Crop Entangler gets a lot worse when we're really only splashing for the Deem Worthies. And then I guess we do play Darrow's Resolve. And we can cut one of our planes for a Cradle, and don't forget to put in your full art planes just for value. So the 1 swamp is okay. The 3 mountains, it's 3 sources for 2 cards. And I think that's fine too. So we have 11 turn 1 white sources. I wouldn't want to cut any of those for a mountain. In fact, our mana might not be even good enough to support this Cradle of the Accursed. But we also have some cycling to help out with that. Alright, so here is the deck. A weird, like, we did kind of end up in a Mardu token deck. We'll see how well it works.